Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, innovators and visionaries. I'm Kanchi Chawla, Senior Sub-Editor at 𝐀𝐈 𝐃𝐢𝐚𝐥𝐸, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to the 𝐀𝐈 AI Dialogue, a curated conversation series where we decode the future, one AI breakthrough at a time. We are living in the age of intelligent machines, where decisions are no longer just made by logic but by algorithm, where conversation with bots feel more human and customers' journey are being rewritten not by chance but by design. At Elite Technomedia, we have spent over 22 years of chronicling the rise of technology across the most critical pillars of our society, from governance and education to healthcare and BFSI. As India's largest B2B multimedia platform, our mission has always been clear: to connect innovation with impact. And as we count down to the World AI Summit scheduled for 25th and 26th of September in Bangalore, our AI Dialogue series is a prelude where we engage with pioneers who are not just riding the AI wave but shaping its direction. Today's guest is one such trailblazer, someone who believes that every customer interaction should be intelligent, intuitive, and instant. He is transforming how enterprises across the world converse, resolve, and connect through the power of AI. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rashid Khan, co-founder and chief product officer at Yellow.ai, a dynamic product leader whose work sits at the intersection of AI innovation and enterprise transformation. So, welcome Rashid to the AI Dialogue series.
Hey, thank you so much. Super excited to be on the show today and look forward to an amazing conversation, all things around AI and customer experience.
So, Rashid, he's a passionate product innovator who has played a key role in building one of the world's leading enterprise grade conversational AI platforms. At Yellow.ai, he leads the product vision and strategy, enabling businesses across 85 plus countries to automate conversation across voice, chat, email, and more, all while delivering human like context aware experiences. His work is helping enterprises move beyond rule based workflows to autonomous, multilingual AI agents that truly understand intent, emotion, and nuance across industries like banking, media, mobility, retail, and healthcare. So it's a pleasure to have him with us today for this exciting edition of Elite's AI Dialogue. So once again, thank you, Rashid, for joining us today.
Yeah. No, I think we should. We're seeing a great influx of changes in the last few years, right? And especially with sort of AI becoming so much mainstream. I think it's great to have this dialogue on where we are sort of headed as a country and as a society with so many changes. And specifically at Yellow, we're sort of very focused on solving the customer experience problem for enterprises. And the genesis of the company was started on a similar belief that automation will become, take a center seat, as we sort of go along. And today we're very proud to sort of power more than 16 billion conversations getting automated through the Yellow platform for some of the largest companies out there in finance, in banking, in retail, in governments, and across the globe. So as a company, we started out of Bangalore in 2015. But over the period of the last 10 years, we've been able to scale it out to Asia Pacific, to the US, to the Middle East, and multiple other geographies out there. So it's very proud moment for us to be able to deliver that right from India. And yeah, look forward to an amazing conversation on all things AI here.
Truly, I'm excited too. So let's dive into a few questions that will explore more about Yellow.ai's journey and the evolution of conversational AI. So starting with my first question, Rashid, how has Yellow.ai's platform, like it has evolved over the past years in terms of cross-industry adoption, and what key enterprise outcomes have driven this growth?
Yeah, so as a company, we started back in 2015, early 2016. And as I said, the whole genesis was, and when we started off, the whole genesis was how could we bring the power of chat to enterprises. and that's where we started this company, Yellow Messenger. That's what we were called in our earlier days. And one of the biggest use cases which we saw, which we're trying to solve for, is bringing consumers as close to the businesses as possible. And we felt chat was a medium which sort of did that very well. So we built out our first version of the platform, which was very early machine learning based. It would answer simple questions, it could take simple actions, and so on. And we got huge pull in the Indian market. So we were able to deploy for customers in retail. One of the first customers which we got was in banking and financial institution, insurance companies. I think these are the companies which are sort of adopting Yellow as a platform. And the key thing which they wanted to solve for was automate some of their end consumer interactions. So when we start thinking about Yellow, the best fit of companies, or the best users of Yellows, are companies which have huge consumer base, and where the interactivity between the consumer and the business is quite a lot. And that's where Yellow sort of as a system makes sense, because it starts automating a lot of those conversations for you. Right. And over a period of time, we have essentially tried to stay ahead of the curve in terms of technology, and especially push the boundaries of what could be done with AI. So we were one of the first companies which sort of adopted the generative models to generate data for our training data sets. And in early 2021, we essentially moved on to a completely agentic platform, which essentially helped most of these enterprises build very autonomous agents, which would not just respond but actually act and on behalf of users. So largely from an outcome perspective, as you were asking, the big outcome which we're sort of driving is helping reduce the customer support cost and time it takes to resolve a query. So, for to give an example, without Yellow, typically if you have an issue with your bank, or if you have an issue with your airline, you typically call them on a contact center. You'd reach a human after maybe a couple of minutes of waiting, and they would try to understand your query. And post that, they will create a ticket for you, and they'll say, "Hey, please follow back on this ticket in a few days." Right. So for you as a consumer, you still have to wait and keep following up across different channels to get your query resolved. But with our AI agent, what essentially happens is the moment you call, your call is answered by a voice AI agent. It understands what you want. It understands your intent across different languages, and it actually does the action for you. So it's if you're calling to reschedule a ticket, or if you're calling to file a claim with your insurance, it happens right then and there, with zero waiting. So for end consumer, it's a great experience, which you get, which is 24/7 in your language. And for the business, the big outcome is it's helping save them a lot of time, a lot of money in terms of serving that customer, and bringing a very delightful experience to the consumers. And that's the big outcome which you sort of focus on.
Okay. Okay. So, Rashid, like with AI driven conversations, like they are now spanning across voice, chat, and email. So, how is your organization leveraging multimodal AI to, improve the resolution rates and reduce customer effort scores?
Yeah. So in terms of interactivity, when you look at the consumer interaction with any business, I don't think it's only voice, or it's only chat, or it's only email.
Hmm.
It's a combination
Hmm.
of those three mediums of interaction across different channels. And also, it's not just people sending text messages, or people just not talking on voice, but in a lot of cases, people have to provide proofs of certain things happening. So that may include sending videos, sending images, sending PDF files for verification or taking action. So the whole concept of multimodal AI comes from that. Is AI should not be able to understand the text and voice as a medium, but it should also have the context about all the documentation which a consumer has access to, and all the bills, or all the proofs which as a business is generating. And that's where the multimodal comes in. Now, the part of multimodality which gets really interesting is, one is obviously you're able to understand, let's say if you send an email with an attachment, be it a PDF file, or be it a screenshot image, the AI can sort of understand that and take action. But also at the same time, I think it gets really interesting, whereas AI can essentially pull data across different systems, generate images, generate these PDF files, or generate any kind of media generate voices to respond back to the consumer, at their convenience. And that's where you've seen sort of the multimodal AI sort of scale up drastically, especially when we look at support scenarios. I think in every support scenario there will be some kind of attachments. People would be sending, be it in terms of, the PDF images, the PDF documents or images and so on. So for us to innovate on multimodality, I think it was sort of a need driven by customer problems, and that's where sort of it came along. And now over a period of time, it has been refined over and over again. So we've gotten to one of the best, PDF parsers out there. We can understand knowledge across big spectrum of a database or knowledge systems, be able to extract information from it and respond to customers. I think those are the capabilities that have gotten stronger just by this one particular customer problem which sort of came about.
So, Rashid, as you said that the customer experience basically by integrating chatbots and all. So the customer experience was enhanced by that. But of course, I believe by when we are building up that, like you build a chatbot for every conversation that it can answer to the customer, it can answer of the customer base. Sorry. So of course, there might be some challenges or anything that you and your team might have faced. So if you could, address them, if you would like to share.
Yeah, so especially when you think about deploying chat agents or voice agents, which are much more refined form of the chatbot and voice bot, I think the first thing which you saw, the first challenge which you start running into is that of accuracy. So, are you providing the outmost right information for every customer request? I think that becomes the challenge. And how do you make sure that there is no hallucinations, when a customer response is going out? So that's one of the first problems which we had to solve to make sure that there were zero hallucinations in the generative world, which you're responding to, and then the accuracy of understanding what user really wanted, that had to be high, because with humans, one of the greatest things which we sort of have is the ability to understand, what a consumer, what other human is trying to communicate to us. So we get the intent very easily. Uh, so with AI, I think that was the first thing which we had to solve, was accuracy. Second thing, as we sort of started building more of the voice agents, not so much in the chat. One of the things which became super important is latency. So the quality of voice calls is as good as, how low your latency is. So if you have to wait 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds to get a response back from an AI, voice AI, the experience starts feeling very robotic or very broken, right? And in most cases, as a consumer, I would say, hey, let me talk to a human agent who would do this much faster. So the second challenge which came about was solving the latency problem. And today, with our VoiceX product, which we launched last August, we've been able to curb down that latency in sub 1 second. So it feels very, very human-like experience, in which you're able to deploy for our customers. The third problem, which we sort of had to solve, was how to make sense of all the conversations which are happening with AI. So how do you analyze? So especially in the human-based contact centers, there was this concept of QA of calls, right? So in most calls, in most cases, when you call a contact center, they say this particular line, right? Like, this call may be used for training and development purpose or QA purpose, because there specifically used to be a team which would monitor some of these calls with human agents. Similarly, in the AI world, now the scale of calls has gone up drastically. What you can handle with AI. So you also needed tools to see, what calls were going well, what was not going well. What are the things which AI could handle, could not handle. So we essentially launched a whole product around it called Analyze, which could do this analysis for you in real time, as calls are happening, and gives to you as a business user to take actions from it. So you can say, these are things which AI couldn't answer and it needs help with learning. So you start going training about it. There are things which it has not been integrated with. So you go out and build those integrations. So we have to build the complete toolkit to be able to support voice AI at scale. And similarly, it got used for chat as well. It was very useful for chat, but I think it became a need for voice. So these are three big broad problems that we have to solve to make our voice agents and chat agents, to appeal to a larger uh, business community out there.
Okay. So, Rashid, could you walk us through the Yellow.ai's enterprise LLM strategy basically? So, how does it differ from simply integrating off the shelf models like GPT in enterprise workflows?
That's a great question, and I think that's a question which lingers on a lot of business leaders' mind. Is, hey, today I do have an option where I could just go out and integrate with like a Chat GPT, or I could integrate with Claude's APIs and try to get like a similar response, right? And the way we think about Yellow is an infrastructure which sits on top of these uh, frontier models out there. So the big challenge with you just integrating with like a Chat GPT or with a Claude or Gemini, the problem is you get stuck in that ecosystem of that model, and you essentially get limited by how fast or slow the innovations are happening on that model. So one of the key things which we do is we sort of sit broadly across these models as a horizontal platform, and we bring the best of these models for the use case which you want to solve for. Right. So I think that's one. The second bit, especially in enterprise, what becomes important is the whole aspect of guardrailing these large language models, and also the aspect of privacy as well. So the kind of data which you'd want to expose to these models versus what you don't want to expose. So if you are essentially integrating with these models directly, you'll have to build that whole guardrail plus privacy layer yourself to be able to define what gets exposed, what doesn't get exposed. That's one of the big challenges which we're solving for enterprises with our technology. The third big aspect is how we are essentially making it super easy to build these agents by just writing goal-based prompts. And there is internally what we've built out is a system prompt which converts this goal-based prompts into the prompts which, let's say, ChatGPT could take and drive conversations, or Gemini could take and drive conversations. So especially scaling, building one or two use cases of the API, I think that looks easier. But let's say when you're thinking about doing 100 use cases or 200 use cases, and some of customers are doing more than 1,000 use cases, I think it starts to get very, very complex with the kind of prompts which you write. So essentially help them making it very, very easy to sort of structure them and make it very goal oriented. So that's one big advantage which our customers get. And finally, the big aspect is we feel uh, the GPT API and let's say the frontier models using their API, you just get to one part of the functionality, which is just being able to answer the question which came from the end consumer. You also, as an enterprise, you need like the whole toolkit around it. So as I said, like we talked about analyze, we talked about reducing latency. What happens in case AI is not able to understand, it has to escalate to a human agent. So the platform for human agents sort of look at it, the complete analytics platform to see what's working, what's not working, how to improve, how to take action, the reinforcement learning aspect of it. So I think those are the parts which you will have to build from scratch if you just use one of the APIs. Today, we essentially give this out as a bundle, very simple to use interface. So I think that's where it sort of differs. So our strategy always has been that we are not a frontier model company. We would not go out and build our own large language model which would compete with the OpenAI or Anthropic's Claude or Gemini, but rather we essentially are enablers of these large language models out there. We want to bring the best of uh, models to you for the best of use cases which you want to do. So in certain, what we've also seen is for certain use cases, OpenAI is really, really good. For certain use cases, Gemini is very, very good. So we essentially automatically orchestrate across those without you having to deal with the complexities. I think that's
Mhm.
that's where the power of the Yellow platform sort of comes in, and that's what we're highlighting to our customers as well, and they understand and see this value drastically.
Okay. So, Yellow, it powers like AI-driven conversations for enterprises like across 85 plus countries. So, what key usage patterns or behavioral data have you observed across the geographies when it comes to AI adoption and customer experiences?
Yeah. So we've seen a very interesting sort of trend emerge with consumer interactions, right? So we essentially saw in any country, wherever we have deployed for any customer where we have deployed, almost instantly we see a massive usage coming on these AI agents, and specifically past 2021, actually past 2022 when ChatGPT became, came in GA.
Yeah.
it essentially bolstered the whole uh, consumers' view on how AI works, right? And that's where the time when people started experimenting with ChatGPT, with Claude and some of the other models out there, and people realized there's a huge benefit to using AI. So I think that has been a positive momentum for us. So the moment today when consumers see an AI widget, on a website, or they interact with the voice AI on telephony platforms, they almost immediately get massive adoption because they know that they can go out and talk very freely to these agents. They can tell their problems, and they can be sure to be routed to the right use case. So we're seeing a very positive momentum out there. But at the same time, there is a caution. So I think as enterprises look to deploy these AI agents, one of the key things is coverage of use cases is very critical as you build AI for your organization. So if you're just launching for one or two use cases, and if you don't scale it up beyond that, I think you essentially would see initial excitement with your customers who are willing to adopt, but then as they try to do more use cases and they don't find that available with AI, the excitement sort of goes down from there. So I think it's very important to do this in a manner where you're essentially launching something for end consumers with AI. But we see a very strong adoption, and that's one of the things which I talked about is aggregately, we handle more than 16 billion conversations in a year. So it's around 4 billion to 5 billion per quarter. And this is coming across the globe. So there's a strong pull from the consumer side. But I think at the enterprise side, we also need to make sure that we're innovating and bringing newer use cases which consumers want very, very fast. So I think that becomes a big challenge to solve.
So, as AI, it becomes more autonomous. So, how is your organization, embedding responsible AI principles like data privacy, bias mitigation, and transparency into product development?
Yeah, it's a great question, I think, and probably the need of the hour to sort of discuss these aspects. So one of the things which we have been very cautious about, and we've been talking about this whole aspect of ethical AI and responsible AI. And as a part of that, I
Hmm.
also chair a committee on UNESCO about ethics in AI on natural language. So I'm part of that, and essentially helping drive the guidelines which companies and governments have to follow when it comes to adopting AI and building large language models to sort of remove. If you think about the fundamental problem why biases come into these large language models, the biggest source of that is in terms of the training data itself. Today, when we think about any large language model, the first thing is most of these large language models are trained on the general internet data, which is 95% in English, right? So that's where biases start to come in. That's where you see the adoption of AI in English is so much higher than in some of the other languages out there. So as governments and as organizations, you have to really think about what kind of data are we getting in to train our models. Are we making it equitable, right? So we it'll always be the case that certain languages, certain regions will have access to a lot more data than the others. But are we able to bring some sort of equitable structure there, which is able to make sure for these grounding rules and how these models sort of gets trained? I think that becomes the first aspect. So we are very um, clear in that sense that if we have to build our own model, we also have to be very equitable about the data which comes in. And as a part of that exercise, one of the things which we did 1.5 years back was we launched a LLM for Bahasa language in Indonesia. So we saw the OpenAI models and some of the other models, they're being really good in English but not so good in Bahasa. And we had a lot of our customers who were wanting to adopt Bahasa as a deploy voice and chat agents in Bahasa in Indonesia. So we launched a model called Komodo 7B. It's a 7 billion parameter model. It's a small model from the comparative to what others have built out. But it's one of the first few models in Bahasa uh, which helped the consumers and the enterprise over there to sort of really get access to AI. In some sense, we open sourced that, so that is essentially available on Hugging Face, and people have sort of forked it to build multiple use cases on top of it. So we're very proud of that. So I think largely from a language perspective, I think we have a framework around how we handle and build these models out. Now, when it comes about the responsible AI and making sure AI the data essentially is getting used in the right manner. The good thing is, we work with some of the largest enterprises out there, from healthcare to governments and large organizations. So we essentially get mandated by them to sort of have the right privacy controls, to have the right enterprise controls at across the layer. So that essentially helps us quite a lot in defining our policies, which we use internally, how data gets stored, how data gets used. But yeah, I think with the work which I'm doing with UNESCO on the AI ethics, I think we should have a guideline sometime this year, which essentially becomes as a gold standard to be followed for solving some of these issues around regulations and AI. As such, yeah.
So, Rashid, like, what are some of the like most compelling data points like you have seen around cost savings or agent productivity improvement due to automation via Yellow?
Yeah. So we have some of our customers. I think the way for us to sort of think through the value chain is what kind of outcomes were customers looking to sort of get to when they started with these AI agents. One of our customers in the US, which is into the utility gas segment, where they're providing gas to end consumers, right? So for them, they essentially have been able to automate more than 90% of the calls which are coming in, and these are largely sales calls. So people are placing calls to place order for getting gas at their homes. So 90% of that essentially gets handled by our AI today, right? So that is the gold standard which we feel that AI could get to upwards of 80 to 90% in terms of automation. Now, that essentially for each region, the way that value translates is very different. So for the US, it definitely is about cost saving, because I think the average call, the average cost to handle a call in the US is probably around $10 to $15, which is loaded, right? Which includes the human cost, includes the infrastructure cost, the software cost. That $10 to $15 is like maybe $1 or $2 with Yellow, right? So there's a massive cost saving which sort of comes in. The second way our customers realize value is in terms of the enhanced experience which they're able to provide to their consumers. So a lot of our customers, when we are launching their first AI agents on chat, on voice, one of the big problems we're solving for them is the availability of uh, agents for 24/7. So I mean, today it's still uncommon to some extent not to see companies providing 24/7 support, right? So while in India and some of the places where we have leapfrogged to getting 24/7 support, but there are also countries and companies across the globe which are not able to provide so, because of high cost country constraints, and also the lack of ability of people who could do that. So the second value which which we as a brand, which we as a company sort of provide, is making sure they're available 24/7 across different channels. So it's not just voice, but also chat, also email, WhatsApp, SMS, and so on. So I think that becomes a second value which customers get. And in terms of agent productivity, what we essentially help provide is the amount of tickets which agents can handle with AI versus not having AI has gone up drastically. So especially with agent recommendation in terms of giving the next best response, figuring out the right action, giving everything to the agent which they can use to respond back very fast, making sure they don't have to switch tabs quite a lot, get the information from different aspects of the systems. I think that itself reduces your average handling time by more than 50 to 60%, which is a big agent improvement, productivity improvement which we see. So depending on the kind of enterprise, I think the value sort of differs drastically. What they're looking to optimize for. But we as a platform, I think these are some of the gold standards we see, like 80 to 90% automation, increase in the customer experience, availability 24/7, 50 to 60% agent productivity improvements with Yellow. I think these are the common patterns which we see across customers.
Okay. So, Rashid, based on the platform data and enterprise feedback, so what do you predict will be the next major shift in how enterprises use AI for customer engagement by next year or by coming years?
Yeah, yeah. So just looking at the data and looking at where the sort of the industry is heading into, one of the things that's becoming clear is I think AI will become the frontier to every customer communication. Even today, we feel that penetration is still less. I think organizations are still going through that transformation to put AI right in center. But let's say if we take 1 year or maybe 2 years down the line, I think the first point of contact when we as a consumer try to have with any business, it will be with AI. I think that's gonna become true, right? Second is the second area which I see is uh, most of these agents will evolve. Like the AI agents will evolve from just doing reactive support to more proactive engagement with you as a consumer. And what I mean by that is, so today, you have to either call the contact center, or you have to email, or you have to message yourself, right? So it's reactive in that sense. But what we're seeing, especially with how the technology is evolving, most of these AI agents will sort of become proactive. So they essentially notice, let's say if your cash book is running low, let's say you deposited a check which was the second last check in your checkbook. The AI agent will automatically understand that and give you a call saying that, hey, do you want to place an order for a new checkbook? All right. So a lot of that support will become proactive. I think that's a big piece which we are betting on how this changes. And the third is we feel the use cases will expand beyond support. So today, we are seeing some amazing use cases come out in the in the business world and in the consumer world. So we feel a lot of the AI recommendation systems in terms to help you buy the right products, help you choose the right services. I think those are going to become a lot more common. So maybe after a year down the line or 2 years down the line, if you're trying to let's say buy insurance, or if you're trying to get a bank card, or you try to book an airline ticket, most likely you'll be interacting a lot more with AI agents, which help you suggest the right plan for you and the right destination for you. I think that's sort of going to become very common. So AI agents will expand beyond support use cases to more sales oriented use cases, more recommendation oriented use cases, as we sort of see.
So, Rashid, I truly agree to your point, and we are seeing AI like it is transforming and taking over everything basically. And though yes, it is helping out the customer experience and enhancing their experience as well. But what is your take on the human touch? Like, yes, AI is taking over, but do you feel like the need of the human presence, the human touch? Because yes, of course, AI is being handled, but there needs to be a person who handles the AI.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what is your take on that?
So I think we definitely are seeing evolution of what kind of tasks human will perform in this AI first world, especially
Hmm.
in the support world, and maybe to some extent the sales world as well. So I think there are two ways to sort of think through this. One of the things is uh, building. The reason why AI works so well is because of, one is the scalability, and second is because of standardization of responses, which sort of to go to. So one of the things which humans can't do well is sort of scale. Like I think in humans you sort of need what is called as the linear scaling, where
Hmm.
let's say to handle let's say 1,000 customers you needed 100 people. To handle 2,000 customers you need 200 people, right? So at some point of time, that equation starts breaking for most businesses, because they can't just keep adding more people to serve more customers, right? So I think AI will sort of help most companies move beyond uh, the kind of uh, the kind of volumes they were able to serve with to their existing customers. So I think AI will help expand that. But at the same time, the second aspect is around standardization. So AI works really well when there are more standard things to be done, which is much more structured, right? And which with simple recommendations that can help in consumers, go over the line to take action. I think AI does a very good job there. Now, the role of humans in this will sort of keep evolving. So now, when you think about a contact center, the average person, I think two things which come out. So one is average person spending probably 8 to 10 hours repeatedly repeating the same things. So, people call and ask, hey, what is my account balance? Or people ask, hey, how do I do X, right? Most likely they're reading it off from a standard operating procedure. And for that human, I think they get really frustrated with that job in the first 6 to 8 months, and that's why you see a higher number of attrition in the contact center or the customer experience industry. So I think AI is sort of automating that. Now, once that is getting automated, the role of AI, the role of sort of sorry humans, is to make sure that AI is doing the job it was supposed to do, right? So all of the monitoring aspects will sort of start coming in. But at the same time, there will be a lot of places where I think the way to think about it is a lot of these things in some extent are getting commoditized, right? So services sort of getting commoditized across businesses with AI, which is great for us as consumers because we know that we'll essentially get the same experience irrespective of which brand are we going to talk to, how I'm going to talk to. But there essentially are certain aspects where you need real human intervention still, right? So things which require a lot of empathy, things which require a lot of emotional aspect of decision making. So let's say as you're purchasing more high value items, or let's say you have critical issues in the healthcare coming up. I think those still would require a lot of human empathy and a lot of human interaction to sort of get to that. So one of the things which I'm also equally excited is to sort of see how the role of humans evolves aggregately, as technology sort of comes in, and we're already seeing some aspects of it, right? So one of the biggest use cases of AI beyond customer experience has been on essentially programming or coding, right? So today AI has become so good that it can generate a lot of the code with simple prompts, and at first it sort of felt like, hey, programmers will become obsolete if this happens. But what we're actually seeing is every programmer becoming a lot more productive with adopting AI. So they essentially are able to do more work, more complex work as well, with sort of AI companion out there. So I feel the similar trend would, I'm very optimistic in that sense, that a similar trend would sort of apply across industries, that people who use AI, I think they'll become more productive and will be able to deliver more. We'll be able to do things which they really enjoy, right? I think in our day-to-day jobs, there are certain aspects of work which we enjoy, certain aspects which we don't enjoy, which are repetitive and grunt work. My sense is that a lot of the grunt work will get automated with AI, and then most of the humans will be left with is doing more is doing work which they really enjoy. So let's say in case of content writers, it could be AI could research for you ideas and the structure to write, but you spend all your time in just writing that perfect piece of blog or perfect piece of article. Same as for programming, where AI could do a lot of heavy lifting to figure out what APIs to call, what code to generate, and you just figure out the business logic and the architecture piece of it. Similarly, we're doing this in the customer support and service industry, where we want the human agents to just be able to provide the right answer to the customer. The rest of the other things, being fetch data from multiple sources, taking actions, AI does for you as a human agent. Right. So I think we see this evolution sort of happen. I think that's what will become, like AI will become like a big companion to us humans. Then I think the replacement of the other aspects of it.
Beautifully answered, Rashid, and what an insightful conversation it has been. So, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your product philosophy, and the powerful innovations happening at your organization. So, from scaling multimodal AI across 85 plus countries to driving enterprise transformation with responsible and adaptive AI, perspectives have truly helped us understand what it takes to build at the intersection of intelligence, trust, and scale. So, before we close, any final message that you would like to share with our viewers, especially the innovators, builders, and leaders tuning in?
Yeah, I think to all the builders out there and people who are trying to mingle with AI and build stuff, I think it's great time to do that. As a as a product person and as a former engineer who used to love writing code, I feel that this is one of the probably best times to uh, build something new out for the world, and for the business users out there. I think it's a great time to sort of be experimenting with new things which are coming out. I think you would be sort of surprised what AI could do for you today. So all that it takes is to for you to sort of take that leap of faith and give that chance to some of the new vendors out there, some of the new companies out there, to showcase their capability. And that's the way which we sort of started, which we grew. So in our early days, there are a lot of people who believed in the vision which we which we had around chat automation, and that's a big reason why Yellow has come to a place where we have come to. So I would urge the business community to sort of keep taking those chances on new ideas, innovative ideas, to sort of help this innovation ecosystem grow and the entrepreneurship ecosystem grow. So that would be one of the key messages, and I really enjoyed the conversation. I think which we had. I think it's great to sort of share, how we feel the world is sort of headed, how world is getting shaped with AI, how work is sort of changing, and we're very very excited to sort of play, small part in this changing ecosystem with AI. So very very excited. So thank you for having me on the show and hearing my thoughts. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rashid. It was a pleasure having you with us. And I truly, enjoyed the conversation, got to know more about the organization and more about how AI transforming, what initiatives you have taken. So it was a beautiful and candid conversation. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So to our viewers, thank you for joining us on this edition of AI Dialogue. As we count down to the World AI Summit on 25th and 26th of September in Bangalore, this series is just a glimpse of the powerful minds and platforms shaping the AI frontier. Stay tuned as we continue bringing you closer to the people and products redefining what's possible. Until next time, stay curious, stay future ready, and keep engaging with AI that matters. Thank you and see you in the next episode.